it's your girl Tia Shasha High, the host of Millennial High, where the trend-setting millennial comes for motivation, inspiration, and deep conversation. I'm so excited for today's show. I have the activation specialist, Melissa D. White. She is a certified life coach, speaker, and host of the Activation Hour. She'll share with us her story and how we can all win in the face of fear. Also in the show, we'll shine the light on Philly's own Don Haze, Ree Santana and Drizz, and their lifestyle movement and artist collective, High Level. A little bit about Millennial High. This show serves as a platform for those who inspire and provoke others to go beyond what they ever thought was possible for themselves. So if you have an inspirational, uplifting, thought-provoking message you want to share with the millennials of the world, I want you. Be on the show. Email me at millennialhigh@gmail.com and let's connect. But first, as always, let's set the mood for today's show. When I first heard about the Activation Hour, spoke with Melissa a little bit, I immediately thought of this song, and I'm like, I gotta play it for her. I feel like this is what she helps people do, and the song is On Your Day, Rise Up. Here we go.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we'll rise. We'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up, I like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. You
And we are back. If you're just joining us, you're listening to an inspirational, informational talk show called Millennial High on 106.5 FM in Philadelphia. And I'm your host, Tia Shasha High, and you just heard Rise Up by Andrea Day. I'm having I wish I had Andrea Day on the show. But instead I have someone just as great. It is Melissa D. White, and she is calling in, and I'm trying to get the phone lines to work. They are just acting a little out of control today. So let's see if she can hear me now and if we can hear her. So let's try to do this thing again. Melissa, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Melissa?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. You're coming through.
Oh,
Yay!
Okay. Awesome.
Amazing. So I'm so happy I was able to figure this out. And you are just totally amazing and so just like awesome for sticking around. Because I'm like, hello, can you hear me?
Yes. No, I don't give up. I'm not a quitter.
I love it.
No, you have to persevere. You keep moving.
Yes, you got to keep going.
So much.
I'm like, I know there's something I'm missing on this console, but no. But Melissa, you're amazing, and I don't know if you heard my introduction or not, but I definitely played Andrea Day Rise Up for you because when I read about the activation hour, and I'm thinking like, you know what, like just everything that you do for people, I was like, this is what activation is. This is what she activates them. She helps them to rise up.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa is a certified life coach, and you are the principal coach of the Activation Hour. Melissa specializes in purpose activation and income maximization. I like that. I like that a lot. You coach your clients to identify the purpose within and utilize it to earn their maximum income potential within their gifts. That I absolutely love. And I definitely want to acknowledge that you're taking a break from your service today. I know you had Sunday service today, so I appreciate that. You'll stay with us for about like a half an hour, and then I will let you go, right? Okay, good.
No, absolutely, yes. Thank you. It's an honor to do so because this is a part of serving, to give back a portion of what's given to you to other people. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about who you are. Who is Melissa D. White, and why do you call yourself the activation specialist?
Absolutely. Well, first, thank you for the awesome introduction. I've been so excited and anticipating talking to you. It's so great when a social media connection becomes a real life one. So thank you. I'm honored. Yeah. So me, wow. I'm a servant. I'm a servant leader, and to be honest with you, who I am, the activation specialist wasn't a title I gave myself. I know in a day and age when, it's all about, branding yourself and having catchy names and things like that. Mm-hmm. It was actually a name given to me by a dear friend who's an amazing woman, powerhouse in terms of like women's rights and advocacy and women's empowerment, and who happens to also be my pastor. She actually coined that name for me.
I see.
So it was one of those things, like the activation hour and the activation specialist was birthed through my own purpose.
Okay.
So it comes from a very authentic place where, and she gave me that name from a conference that we had here in Atlanta called She Builds. And she's like, Melissa, I want you to open the conference because your purpose, your gift, is to activate other people. And what was crazy about that, I was like, what do you mean? And so she just began to share with me, like, look at every area you operate in your life. It's about you have a gift to tap into something in people so they see who they are, and then they run and they move in it. And when you have an awareness of who you are, it gives you like that extra push. Like you run harder when you know who you are. And so that was the birth of the activation specialist. And so then became, all the other businesses. So I want to be clear. The activation hour, it was about finding my own purpose first.
Right.
And then the businesses and the nonprofits and all of that came after. Those things, I had to know who I was so that I can help other people understand what that process is like. So that's essentially who I am, the activation specialist.
And you know what I love about that story is the fact that obviously, so I know your past. Is she your mentor as well?
She is my mentor. And what's
Right.
crazy about that is the power of connection. She and I actually graduated high school together. So it's amazing how when the people you're connected to and you start to watch their journey, that is a part of your purpose. You need to watch who you're connected to and who's speaking into your life.
Right.
So, yes, she has been a mentor and a friend all throughout these seasons. So, yeah.
And that's what they say. Just pay attention to your friends. The people that you surround yourself with will be the people you become. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
you
yeah.
always want to surround yourself with people who are achieving and doing things in life and making it happen, because inevitably you will be too. Because you're there, because you are doing it, right?
Yes, and it's so surreal, to be honest with you, because truly, as the activation specialist, I know it's like, it's a catchy thing or whatever, but it means my life is not my own. My sole responsibility here is to make sure other people get it. Before I leave here, it's my job to make sure someone else understands this is who I am and give them the tools to operate in it. That's what it's about.
So then how do you do that? How is that done?
It's funny you say it happens on different mediums. So this whole life coach thing, I got to tell you something funny about that. I never set out to be a life coach. This is the thing about coaches. You see, especially in the social media age, like, again, I keep referring to, you see people, that kind of give themselves this self-imposed title or what have you. I didn't realize I was coaching people until friends around me said, Melissa, you're already a coach. You just don't use that title. Coaching is a calling. It's no different than someone who is called to a particular position, or, like how you're nominated and placed into a place.
Exactly,
Coaching, yeah, you know what I mean? So for me, the way that I do that in terms of calling forth purpose, you have to go through a process with people. Being a coach means that I'm going to ask difficult questions, because oftentimes we're afraid to ask ourselves that question because we don't want to answer it. It's different when you have to do self-reflection versus when you're accountable to someone else who knows how to draw and pull things out of you.
Right.
So really, and it honestly happened because people would inbox me after they saw whatever was going on in my life and was like, man, how did you do that? I have this idea, and the fact that you're executing this, I feel like you can help me. Like, as a coach, your clients are drawn to you because they see something in the way you live your life and the way you do things that they're like, I want to see myself succeed in that way. So then the next step is, okay, I have to spend time with them. Coaching requires time. I study my clients. I look at the areas of their life where they're already actively working and what's their passion.
Right.
So many people walk around with things that they do because they feel like they have to, and then there's that thing that they do because they love. The problem is they're spending about 90% on the things they feel like they have to do, and
preach.
only 10% of the things that they love. And as an activation specialist, I try to flip that for you. And the only reason they spend the 90% on the things they feel like they have to is out of necessity. They operate in the area of certainty. Well, I know I'm going to do this because it can pay my bills. I know I can do this because it's going to make me feel secure. But if I can show you how your purpose can equally make you feel certain and secure, then that's my job.
And can I say something? That is the key. Like, what you're doing is what so many people are missing. How do I take my passion projects that they call it, right? The passion projects, and make an income, make a living from that. So then you can transition out of doing things out of necessity to doing things out of, want and desire and things that you love to do. And that's always the missing factor. Like, how do I transition out of my full-time 9-to-5 into doing what I really love to do? And you provide that key. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. That's what it is. It's what it's about.
So then how does the Activation Hour connect with your work, with your nonprofit? Righting our wrongs, and talk to us about that.
Wow. It's such a beautiful story because, again, it came from a place. Let me make something clear. Righting our wrongs came first. Okay. What it dawned on me. I have a good friend, my graphic designer. As Righting Our Wrongs began to come to fruition almost a year ago now, I remember we were in a meeting, and he's worked with me for several years on projects, and he said to me, Melissa, this is the first time I've seen you passionate about something that wasn't about you, yourself, or your brand, but it was about other people. And it clicked in my head. I said, you know what? Righting Our Wrongs is about activating youth, activating a generation, the voice of a generation, so it's not about me. So that means now I'm accountable to the people who it's for. So I'm not answering to Melissa about it. But it is something, again, it's a purpose thing when you know it doesn't serve you, it serves others. So I got great joy in the fact that I get something from it is just a byproduct.
Right.
That was never the intent. So out of Righting Our Wrongs, which our purpose, our mission is empowering youth to activate their voice through writing and speech. Now, you understand the word activated is in that mission.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I realize in activating them and working with our kids on writing and speech and anti-bullying and social justice, I got activated. The activation specialist was born out of serving and activating a generation. So I realized what I'm doing for them is now taking place in me, and I have to go do this for other people.
So then now I have a question, huge
Absolutely.
question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this, like you said, you got activating others, right?
Yep.
So when you found your purpose, what were you doing beforehand? Like, were you always coaching, on the side? Did you have a full-time job doing something else?
I love that question, and I'm going to be candid with you and the audience because they need to hear this story. And so we hold on to our stories because it's like, well, it's not anybody's business. I'm not ready to tell that yet. I'm just going to make it plain. Yes, I've worked. My corporate background is as a sales and marketing trainer and director. I come from the property management industry. That was my life for 13 years. And so what I didn't realize, and I want y'all to catch this, my corporate gifts, I studied my craft. I became good at sales. I knew how to relate to people. I understood marketing and, analytics. I'm a data junkie. Like all of these things, I took pride in that. To me, my identity was my job. I've been a corporate chick for 13 years.
Right.
Honestly,
right.
It was my goal. It's like, okay, I got to hit this executive level. I've been in a director capacity. I was a corporate trainer for, 6 or 7 years. Out of that, this last 13, and it brought me great joy in the corporate sense. What happened, though, was when Righting Our Wrongs was born out of what was going on in society. Actually, the idea came about the day that Mike Brown died. And I said, if I'm hurting this bad and I'm grieving over what just happened and I'm an adult, what do our kids feel? And so at the time, I couldn't understand, honestly. Because even though I mentored and I worked with youth in, small capacities, I'm like, I'm not an educator. I don't work in the school system. Why do I have this thriving need or something in my belly that you need to work with kids? I couldn't understand it. It had nothing to do with my corporate job. And that's the thing about purpose. Oftentimes, it has nothing to do with the corporate arena. It's going to look totally left field from anything that you're accustomed to because it's going to take you out of your comfort zone.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that's what happened. I got pulled out of my comfort zone. But this is the kicker. What I've now realized is that everything in my corporate job that I did, the training, putting together processes, getting the data, teaching people how to feel good about their job. I trained employees how to sell, how to do marketing, how to know people, how to build relationships. And now that's what I do in my purpose. My corporate job trained and prepared me for my purpose. Does that make sense?
Right, exactly. Yes. And you know what? And that just goes to show, and I love that because a lot of people say, the things that you have to appreciate where you are, even though you want to be somewhere else, because everything that you go through helps you in what you're going to do next. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It does. It's all connected. It's all connected. I know, oftentimes there's this bit of frustration. We just talked about the 90% of what you don't want to do, the 10% of what you really want to do. And it could be frustrating because you're like, I really, really, really want to be up here. Just don't negate the process.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a reason you are where you are. Gather as much as you can while you're in that place because it's going to take you to the next thing.
So then how did you, I know you have like a platform, and one of your platforms is, facing fear, like how to win in the face of fear.
Do it afraid, right?
Yep.
Do it afraid, yeah. So that has been my mantra, my personal affirmation for about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes back to people. So I told you about my mentor, my friend, my pastor. Her mother, when it came to righting our wrongs, taking righting our wrongs to the next level. And to be honest with you, it was at the time when I was, thinking about having my own radio show, and I was terrified. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, that's not my arena. I'm not in media, whatever. And so I was like trying to talk myself out of something I knew I was supposed to do anyway.
Right.
And
I know exactly what you mean. Continue. Go ahead.
Yeah. So she said to me one day, she said, you know what? And forgive me, it's Sunday. I can't help it. I have to be, not to be a little too churchy, but I have to just tell the truth about the story.
Mm-hmm.
She said, you know what? When you know what you're supposed to do, when God shows you what you're supposed to do, either you do it or you don't. You have a decision to make. Okay, fine. The thing is, if you don't do it, He's going to give it to someone else to complete the work. It's going to get done regardless.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you're still accountable for it whether you do it or not. And that blew my mind. I said, whoa. So whether I do this or not, it was assigned to me. That's kind of like when you have a homework assignment and you don't do it, your teacher's like, okay, you didn't do it, so you're going to get a grade. You chose that grade. You got an F. Now I still got to explain to my teacher why I didn't do it. I'm still accountable for it. That blew me away. But then she followed up with saying, okay, so if that's the case, you're still accountable, do it afraid. And people talk about being fearless. I'm all for being fearless. The problem is fearless still means I have to acknowledge that fear is present.
Right.
So what do it afraid means that I see you. I see fear in the way between me and what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm going to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. Fearless means the absence of fear. Mm-hmm. But that's not the reality for most people. The reality is they are terrified, and you need to own and accept and call it out. Call out fear and run through the fear.
Exactly.
So it's not the absence of it. It's the fact that I'm going to tackle you, and fear, I'm going to knock you down on my way to what I'm supposed to do. So that's what do it afraid means.
I love that because you know what? It's like the majority of the time, what we are truly afraid of is insignificant. Like you let that, like some people, you let it stop you, like in your tracks, like your mental blocks cause you to not make action in life. Like, how can you not pursue your dream? Like, and there's this one video that I posted on my Facebook page the other day, and it's this woman, and she's saying she was on an airplane. And she's like, listen, I got to stop. I got to talk. I got to do this. And basically, before she left, one of her friends said to her, oh, you're doing that again? You're still believing yourself? You're still trying to push this again? And she's like, what did that mean? You know, for her to tell me to stop pursuing my dream it means to stop living. She's just like, okay, well, you can live, but you know, it's like, you know, you can live, but you know, you can't really live. Like, just be alive, be numb, but you really can't live, you know? So, and that reminds me of that, but it's not someone else's voice. It's your own inner voice that tells you to stop. That's what fear is, your own inner insecurities that says you can't do that. You know what I mean? So I love it. And so do you work that Do It Afraid into your activation hour? So let's talk about activation hour for a little bit.
Okay.
So for activation hour, that's a show that you have, right?
Yes.
And then you are the lead coach on that. So do you have do people call in with you or?
Yeah, so the way it's structured, my company's actually the Activation Hour LLC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will give you guys kind of the order of how things happen. So I told you Righting Our Wrongs happened first a year ago.
Right.
Then the radio show came along. Then the coaching came after that. Now like I said, I've been coaching and just kind of helping people, in a consulting type of way. But then I realized, okay, there's a whole, movement behind that, a business, if you will. And so then that's when I was like, let me just go ahead and put the firm together and make the business solid. So the radio show is just an entity of it. There's the coaching, and then the media, which is the radio show, which honestly is really great because the Activation Hour, the show, the mission is to bring ministry to the marketplace. I look for people such as yourself, such as anyone who, they went through their own Activation Hour, which means they transition from the old life, their old selves, into the new. Like you go through a season, we all have that moment, kind of that Activation Hour when we know I'll never be the same. Whatever I'm going through right now has inevitably changed me. It has shifted something in my life where I can't turn back. Like there comes a point when I know too much about who I am and what my purpose is, I can't unlearn that.
Right.
If I know that my purpose is to work with youth, and then I decide to walk away from it, that's still going to always be in the back of my mind. I'll never be the same. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, whether I make the choice to do it or not, that's really an Activation Hour.
Mm-hmm.
So so I bring on guests who talk about their personal experience with that. For example, with you and your show, there was something that happened in you that said, I'm supposed to be doing this.
Oh, yes,
and then
girl.
you had to make a decision.
Oh,
I'm sure that had.
I got a story.
I'd love to hear that. But that's the case with everybody. Anyone with a platform and a purpose, there was a shift that happened in your life that made you say, I've had enough of playing average. I'm going to do this afraid, and you couldn't turn back anymore. You knew too much about who you are, and you're like, well, shoot, let me just go ahead and do it. And then all of a sudden, you're living your best life.
Right.
And you're no longer the same. Your old life doesn't exist anymore. Old things start falling away. Your old mindset doesn't exist. Your circle changes. Your habits change. All of a sudden, you become disciplined in a way you weren't before. That's what an Activation Hour is, and that's what we talk about on the show.
Right.
And what people miss oftentimes is Sunday. There's a lot of people at church. There are a lot of people who aren't at church, and whatever your religion or whatever you believe. But we do encounter everyday people who minister to us or change our lives in a way just through what they're doing. Like through your show, there's someone who hears you every Sunday who may not set foot in any religious capacity or church, but they're changed by hearing you.
Right, and inspired by the guests that I bring on, and that's why I love that you're on. Like, that's why I bring people on like you, bring people on like my next guest in the second half of the show. Like, I kind of feel like that's one thing that is a must. It's just like, who are you? Who have you become? And your journey. And that is kind of like what I love talking about. Yeah, like I love the fact when people, like you said, do it afraid, when they go beyond what they ever thought was possible for themselves. I know I say that in the beginning of every show, but that's just something that draws me out. Like, and that's why I kind of like the fact that you said activation. So when I saw your when you DM me, I'm like, I love this. What is this all about? What is the activation specialist? I need to know more. How do you activate someone's potential? Right? That's what it's all about. What do you think, like, okay, so just through your own personal journey now, like who have you become as the activation specialist? What are some things, like what are some words of encouragement and some advice that you can give those listening? How can they do it afraid? I know I think it's easier said than done, right?
It is, but I'll definitely share again how that happened for me, how it's changed me personally. Because everything I give, whether it's me as a coach, whether it's me working with my youth, it comes from my own story. So what happens is, do it afraid means you have to make a decision for yourself. And like I said, think about how does it serve other people? Again, we'll do stuff for other people that we won't do for ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll encourage, like, prime example, I know people who will encourage other people, but they don't know how to encourage themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They have the best advice in the world for others, but how are you applying it to yourself? So for me personally, I was, like I said, in the corporate arena, I thought my old life was good. It looked good. It looked successful. But then once I realized what my calling was, I asked myself, what do I have to lose? How does fear serve me? It doesn't. Okay, fine. I've given notice at my job. I'm leaping, like I've literally leaped out of the plane. It's like, okay, what have I got to lose? If this doesn't, let's just say this doesn't work, at least I can say I've lived in the most fearless capacity. There's nothing I feel like I cannot do anymore. Truly.
Right.
Confidence comes from leaping. So my confidence has gone up over the last year. You could, and honestly, I just submitted. I submitted to what I wanted my life to be. I got tired of running. I got tired of feeling unfulfilled, even though, again, the money was there, the job was there, the success was there, but there was something missing. So you owe it to the world, to yourself, to at least try. And that's what I did. I knew it was bigger than me. And literally my life has done a 180.
Love it.
So what happens when you become disciplined, when you make a decision about one thing in your life, the other things fall in place. Because I decided to walk in my purpose, I've become better with money. I've become, better.
I agree with that 100%. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
When you commit to one thing, the other things kind of come together. And people don't believe in it. Oh, I have to share this. I know we're running low on time. But what I did do, there was one thing I knew that I was supposed to do that God told me to do, and I didn't do it. Sometimes we make it too complicated. The one thing, what I didn't tell you about righting our wrongs, the idea happened like 2 years ago, but I didn't start it until a year later. So I thought it was too small. I was like, what is a pledge card going to do? Is it really going to make a difference in the world? And then again, that same person, my mentor, my pastor, she said to me, you were supposed to do one thing you didn't do. Just do the one thing. Stop making it so complicated. If you go do that one thing, I bet you all the other stuff will fall in place. So I want to say to everybody, there is one simple thing you were supposed to do, and all you need to do, and I bet that one thing will change your life.
Right.
And I know that does seem like really simple. And like my pledge card, my life changed from writing an affirmation for you. Period.
Wow.
It was the one thing I was supposed to do, and it opened doors. You never know who is in alignment with your purpose just after you do that one thing.
Right. And that's it. Another thing, too, and I want to add to that, and then we're going to wrap up because I know you have to go, but I definitely want you to tell the people where they can reach. Yeah, I know. I love talking to you. So, but you're absolutely right about that. So if anyone listening, everyone listening, listen to what Melissa had to say, because what she said was just amazing. It was magical almost, because it's kind of like if there's something that you want to do and you do it afraid, what that looks like is you ask the question, like Melissa said, you say, how does this fear serve me? How is it serving me? And then you just take the small steps, right? Because like you said, sometimes we overcomplicate things in our mind. It's just the simplest steps, just one day at a time.
One day.
Do something towards that goal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I wish I could really, and I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to be totally transparent and turn the camera on myself. People do not believe me when I say this. There are times before I get on the air, before I speak, like when I would go to school to talk to kids, I can talk to a conference of 1,000 of my peers and colleagues. But something about talking to an auditorium of kids, of like middle school and high school kids, it terrified me. I was like, oh my God, the kids are so honest. They will tell you if they like it or not. And I was like, I would sit in my car before an assembly where I would go speak to kids and work with kids, and I would scream. I'd be like, God, I don't want to do this. I would scream. You can ask my friends. You can ask my sister. You can ask my team that travels with me. They're like, Melissa is a wreck before she goes on. And I'm like, Lord Jesus, I'm running to the bathroom. And then finally when I get over myself and I get out there, It's like something clicks.
Yes.
When you finally do it, it's almost like you go from one gear to the next. When you
Right.
finally just take that one step, you just soar. The best of us, even the best of us, get afraid of something.
Yes.
I would be a wreck.
But you know what,
And
too?
then I get over it.
You know what, too? But that makes so much sense to me because I have a friend, Brooke, and she's always with me every time I get up and speak in front of any crowd. It can be like 5 people, 10 people. And I always end up like rewriting everything in my mind and I'm freaking out and da-da-da. But that energy, that nervousness fuels you because when you get on stage,
Yes.
it's just like, everything is just like, it was meant to be, and you take that energy and you make it work for you. I love it.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, where can we find you? So, what are your social media handles?
Absolutely. Please definitely go to my website. You can always stay connected with every avenue of what's going on with the Activation Hour. You can go to my personal website, melissadwhite.info. Has all the information about the show, coaching, how you can take part and give back to youth through righting our wrongs. You follow me on Twitter at I am Melissa D. And then also the Activation Hour on Instagram to stay connected with everything we're doing. But thank you so much. You have truly been a joy to chat with today. Thank you.
I know. I had so much fun. Thank you so much, Melissa. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
All right. You
All
too.
right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. That was Melissa D. White. She is amazing, the activation specialist. Up next, I have Don Haze, Ree Santana, and Drizz in the studio. But first, I'm going to play a little Era Israti, Bon Bon. Here we go. And we are back. If you're just tuning in, you are listening to Millennial High, 106.5 FM. And I have 3 really good looking people in the studio with me.
Thank you for having us.
We have Don Haze, Ree Santana, and Drizz. Hey. So talk to people a little bit. Just, I guess, Don, you go first. Who are you? What's up? And what's going on with High Level?
First of all, thanks for having us here. Thanks for having us on your show. I go by the name of Don Haze. With my 2 comrades here, we started a company called High Level Co. And we are a lifestyle movement, artistic collective. And we manage myself, Ree Santana, Drizz, artistic showcase through Cloud9. And what we basically are just like some individuals that's just like owning life and just living up to it. We decided that we wanted to do music and just create digital content and just kind of like brand ourselves off of what we could do. And all 3 of us came together and, from it, we created the High Level apparel. And it really got received well on social media. Mm-hmm. And from there, myself and Ree Santana, we dropped some singles, Immortal Vibe and Link Up Turn Up. Yes. And the internet received it really, really well. And now we're doing some press for our first project that was, independently funded by ourselves. Through everything, and now High Level Radio is dropping August 26th at midnight. So
love it.
Be prepared
at
for
midnight.
it. Be prepared for it. Yeah.
Wait, is that going to be the hours going to be midnight?
Yeah, at midnight it'll drop. Yeah, the 25th we're having a release party for it and everything like that. So it's going to be real big stuff coming soon. All right,
John. What about you, Drizz?
Oh, well.
She's like, you call me off guard, Tia.
Well, hey, guys. I'm Drizz from Cloud9 and obviously High Level Co. I have Cloud9, which is an exclusive artist showcase. So basically, I try to find a lot of indie artists globally, locally, to showcase on Cloud9, whether it be an interview, whether it be a photo shoot, whether it be them being a special guest on my live show, Saw Sundays, which is every Sunday from 8 to 11.
Nice.
And on Saw Sundays, we play the submitted music live from 8 to 11, and we rank it from our Sauce Guide that we created. On the Sauce Guide is content, production, and creativity. So we think that those 3 things basically sum up what a good song is.
Right.
And we rate it from 1 through 5. And the winners, they'll be put on a playlist. So that's what we've been doing recently.
Yeah, love it.
Yes.
I love that. What about you, Ray?
I go by the name of Ree Santana. I'm a music recording artist. I've been, pretty much making music my whole life. Early last year, I met Don Haze and Drizz, and ever since then, we formed High Level, and we've been making things happen.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Like, we've been working and doing shows out in D.C. We just came back from D.C. not too long ago. We did a show with Joel Ortiz called the Art of the Heart Tour. We were on that. We did shows in Philly, D.C., and New York for the Art of the Heart Tour. And we just been kind of like spreading the music, trying to get it out there and stuff like that. Just did some interviews through a UK publication called Official Kush. So it's just, just trying to really spread the message of just owning life and living up to it. People come to us and they look at what we're doing and they ask us, how do we get things moving? How do we start things? And we just tell them, like, you just got to make the decision to do it. And then from that point forward, you're living up to what you decided to do with yourself. So when you own life and you make the decision to be who you are, do what you want to do, the next step is just living up to it, finding different ways to live up to it every day. And that's kind of what we're trying to do.
So then how did it come about? I need to know details. Like the day, who thought of High Level? What were you guys doing? What were you wearing? No, I'm joking. So tell me a little bit, what's up with that? Go ahead.
Yeah, Don Haze, he thought of the name High Level. You could tell him.
So we were kind of just, we started with a name called In-House, and we kind of was like, we didn't feel like it was going to take us pretty far when we were like looking online to see like the names that were trademarked and stuff like that. And it kind of originally, to be honest, if we go all the way in the backstory from it, Cloud9 was first. And Cloud9, like she said, was this exclusive artist showcase where she had did work with like interviewing national artists all the way from Currency to like people out in Atlanta like AZ Taylor, and the list goes on. Like, she's been working with these artists. And when I met up with Drizz, I said, hey, well, I do apparel and I make music, and I want to see how we can collaborate on making this stuff more polished. And from there, my mom, she actually passed away last year, August 1st. And like the last thing that she kind of wrote to me before she passed away was like, she wanted me to like kind of like take advantage of like what I went to school for. I went to school for music production and video production. And she said, like, take advantage of it. Like, if you're not getting the opportunities, if people not hiring you, take advantage of it. Do what you could do. And I did it. And now we're here, like, High Level. We've been, like, living at this high level, like, a place where it's, like, we've been just making the opportunities. And because people been seeing us making the opportunities, the support has been tremendous. And, like, now it's just, like, we're just doing stuff like this. You know what I mean? It's just fun to just see ourselves grow and, see people actually excited for what we have, the content that we produce.
So then, basically, I feel like all three of you guys together make up High Level, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And then you brought in what Drizz is doing with Cloud9. So it's High Level, Cloud9, and then what's the third one? Sauce Sundays.
Yeah,
so then if Cloud9 came first, how did Cloud9 start?
Okay, so around, well, honestly, if you want to go all the way back, I've always been into media and always liked music a lot, and I've always listened to instrumentals. And I feel like that's really rare for a girl to listen to instrumentals instead of just music. Right? And my dad, he plays bass, so I've always been around instruments, and I played the flute and the trumpet. Yeah, me too. So when I graduated high school, I went to Monco. I don't know if you ever heard of that school. And I took up, communications. So I was in a lot of audio production, video production, everything that deals with media. So then I started making beats. Then I
Nice. I love that girl.
Yeah, she got some beats too. She really got some beats.
We need to talk.
Then I started making mixes on my own through an app, just for fun. And then my friends was like, you need to put those up. Like, people would love to hear these. So then my friend, we were like, we should start something that showcases the underground scene, because we feel like more of the underground scene has way more to offer than what's being shown on the mainstream. Yes. From food
That's
to
another
singers,
show, right?
Yeah, to everything. Like, to everything.
So, shouts out to Raina. We started Cloud9, and it started off as just interviews. We just talk to people that we knew, because we knew a lot of people in the scene, and it's just like, yo, we find you dope, we want to interview you.
Yeah.
When Currency came to Philly, we kind of like stalked to see where he was at. Like, we were like, all right, he's going to be at UBIC, we need to be there, like this and the third. So we went to UBIC and we caught up with him, got an interview. He was really cool, so that was good. We went to a show. And yeah, I just been doing that ever since, trying to do like photo shoots, interviews.
Love it.
I actually, right before I met these two,
Yeah.
I quit my job because I feel like it was taking too much of my time instead of Cloud9, and I went to Atlanta and interviewed like 6 people.
What? Girl, you're my hero. Stop playing.
Inspiration.
What?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
the inspiration.
Motivation, man.
Yes.
You
so-
quit your job. What?
Yes, I just was like, forget
Insane.
this.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done with them taking my time. I went to Atlanta, and I
I'm
was,
done with them taking my time. Oh my God. I want to hug you.
but seriously, like, no, you're not finna do that to me. So I found a lot of artists, but honestly, it didn't even happen until like the weekend I was leaving. Like, I got 6 interviews within that Thursday to Sunday. Like, I was moving, like, and it was hot as hell. Like, so, and then when I came back 2 months later, I met them, and
It
yeah,
all fell into
and
place.
the rest
It
is
just fell into
history.
place. Yeah, it just fell into
Yeah.
place. So.
So then, all right. So I just want all 3 of you to just like go around, talk about what your next projects are, what you're doing together, and like who else have you collaborated with?
Okay. So we've been doing some work with Temple, and now we have our first intern working with us through Temple. So shout out to Gabby.
Hey,
Just
Gabby.
wanted to shout out also Dr. Elite. He's our high level lifestyle coach. He's about like promoting the actual own life movement and live up to it movement. So you can catch some content from him. We're dropping a show called Questions with Dr. Elite, where you could just kind of ask him about stuff that you're going through in life and see how you can own life and live up to it. So we have that coming out very soon. But until then, August 26th, we have our first completely funded project called High Level Radio. That's going to be dropping. It'll be available on SoundCloud and Spinrilla.
I can't
You
wait.
can check it out on there. You'll be hearing music from myself and Ree Santana. And from there, you will be expecting, we'll dropping some more apparel in the fall. You could catch some dope apparel coming from us out in the fall.
Yeah,
So
man.
Yeah, I love it. And then, so what about?
For now, you can listen to the singles. You listen to my single, Link Up, Turn Up, on the Hollywood SoundCloud page. You listen to Don Haze single, Immortal Vibe, and
I
yeah.
heard your single. I did because I wanted to play it for you guys. I can't play it, but it was really good. The beat was hot. I'm like, oh my God, this is so hot. I love this, and I want to play. I was like, oh man, I can't.
I'm gonna have to give you some edited versions.
Right,
Like, I
need
give you
the
some
edited
edited
version.
versions.
Like,
We'll
what's
have
up with
it. Like, yeah.
No, go
Well,
ahead,
appreciate
go
that. Appreciate that.
yeah. So go check out the singles. The Hollywood Radio playlist will be dropping next month, August 26th at midnight. Make sure you prepare for that. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. It got a lot of blends on it. It's a lot of blends on it. So feel free to just jig out all day with it. Like,
And then how
Yes.
can the listener find you? So just drop your social.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Ree Santana.
you can follow the High Level Co. Instagram and Twitter at HILVLCO, and you can follow me at Don Haze _.
And you can follow me at Drizz Cloud9, Drizz CLXXD9.
I'm excited for you guys. I
Thank
love what
you.
you're
Thank
doing
you.
here, and I'm
Appreciate
so
that.
happy. I love like reading up, and I was like really stalking you guys.
It's mutual. It's mutual.
What can I do? How can I do this? And then what can I listen to? And what can I bring on the show? But yeah, I'm so happy you tuned in. I'm so happy to all the listeners. Definitely follow High Level. They are so dope. You guys are so great. And
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I
Thank
would
you for having us.
I would definitely have you back on the next time you do anything.
Appreciate
I think.
that.
I love
Appreciate
it.
that. Appreciate
And then
that.
I had Melissa D. White, the activation
Shout out to
specialist.
Melissa.
Yeah, shout out Melissa.
She was so inspiring. I loved everything that she had to say, and I would love to have her back on eventually too, because I know she's doing like big things. She was in Philly recently too, and we tried to link up, but she was all the way in Malvern. I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
nah,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
going over there.
Yeah, yeah. That's
a
a
little
hype.
high.
That's
I
a
know.
hype.
I was like, I'm not going over there. But in the meantime, I believe in you. So enjoy
Thank
your
you.
Sunday. Up next
You
is my
too.
girl, Delilah Robin. She just walked into the studio, so she will be up next. So keep it locked. In the meantime, I'm going to play one of my favorite songs called Just a Feeling. So, because I do like dance music, you guys. I'm sorry.
Me too.
I love EDM.
Me too.
Yes.
I like house,
Yeah.
deep
Yeah,
house
you-
music.
deep house-
Yes.
Like, we need to hang out.
Y'all
Yes,
take
that's
it
what
in
it
your
is.
spirits, eh?
That's what I love. So,
Same.
Just a Feeling, Phantoms, up next. All right, here we go. I'll talk to you later. Bye.